boy says his father oversaw millions of dollars in payments to cover up criminal activity.
When season 1 was well received, it was like, okay, how do we top that? And of course, when season 2 was even better received, then coming into season 3 was just absolutely blind terrifying, to be honest. Absolutely terrifying.
Action stations. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
You know, we try and start the writer's room every day by saying, you know, there might be a little bit of goodwill, but 3 minutes to the episode, if it isn't really working, all that goodwill evaporates.
There was a feeling that it'd be amazing if we brought this off, in spite of all the obstacles.
Can I do this? Can I win?
We'll go full fucking beast!
We did our normal writer's room, which we do in London for 4 or 5 months, and we all meet up. I was in a position in March of 2020 of, as usual, being a little bit behind and wanting the whole world to stop for a couple of months, which it promptly did, in a way that no one would have wished it to stop.
You heard where we're at?
Uh-huh. The whole idea of making a show during a pandemic was a little bit scary, not to mention Waystar, which is in one of the World Trade Center buildings. You know, the whole downtown economic sector, Wall Street, all of it was essentially shut down. It was surreal, a little Twilight Zone-y.
Over more than 8 months of shooting, we were tested 5 days a week to try to minimize shutdowns, positive cases.
Let's gang up on Dad and take him down.
Jesus, let me shut the door first.
In the first half of the season, just the physical limitations of how many background people you could have in one space and how far apart they needed to be was really tough.
Because the actors had all this extra stuff on, and so did we, that when the actors, you know, just before the take, come to take all that stuff off, there was a sort of shocking rawness to seeing people physically next to each other, and when we were all aching a bit for human connection, and seeing it happen on camera live was always a sort of thrilling moment.
On Succession, the staging is about finding authenticity and naturalism to these scenes. My blocking will be, okay, come on and let's see what happens. It's like the first day of rehearsing a play and keeping it as unspecific as possible. The more specific it gets, the more geometric, the more symmetrical it becomes, the less authentic it always appears to me.
Just feeling a little out of the loop, Dad.
Oh, of course, things have moved very fast. Come in, come in, come in.
The situation that they find themselves in at the end is exhilarating and terrifying.
Easily the toughest scene I've ever directed on the show. In this vast 11-page scene with so many layers to it.
I have you beat!
For a long time, I couldn't find the ending. I always know what the end shot is, and I couldn't find it. And then we did a take where we just continued Sarah's action, and we gave her character time to process that grief, if you like, and shock. And she broke down, and he walked over and he put his hand on her shoulder and said, "You okay?"
Okay.
And she was starting to shake, but she instead put a game face on and said, "Yep." And as soon as we had that moment, I knew we had the end of the season.
I fucking win.
You know, filmmaking is pretty tough at the best of times.
There's nothing like adversity to bring things closer as well.
Everyone sort of rose together.
Before we started, the problems with COVID did sometimes seem insurmountable, but we did get carried through by the ingenuity and strength of the crew.
Certainly, I look back on the season with a very clear conscience that we really worked our asses off, and what comes out of it, I hope, is amazing television if we're doing our job right.
It's pretty exciting if you love this stuff, which I do.
You just got to try and make the stories as fascinating as you can and as true as you can.